And the clinical research program really stood out to me because it was focused on teaching clinical research concepts as a whole, regardless of what subject or what specific area you were conducting that research in. And I really found that part of it super helpful because I have done a variety of different clinical research, and I wasn't quite sure the ultimate direction and what kind of my final research area would be. And so I liked learning the entire process and being able to take that process to be able to complete kind of impactful research wherever I end up and no matter what topic I'm in. There are a lot of professors from this program that have made an impact on my career, and their lessons still carry on with me and resonate. A few of them would be Dr. Vida, one of the statistics professors. He made me really passionate about statistics. I feel like prior to that point I saw it more as a nuisance, and he really made it so I could understand the fundamentals and more of the concepts. And there are things that he taught me that I use every single day in my current role, and I have found myself to be a little bit more experienced with some types of statistical analyses because of the lessons that Dr. Vida has taught and the way that he taught them, in which they were understandable and easy to grasp and really focused on what the core of your research project was and the idea. I was also very influenced by Dr. Cuomo and all your lessons, especially in health services research. I had not been exposed to that as much, and so dipping my toe in those classes really opened my mind to the whole world of health services research, and I still use a lot of the things that were taught in that class today in my role, especially when I interact with different healthcare systems. And then my mentor, Dr. Mehta, was super important to me. He taught me so many things, both related to the lessons that I was learning in classes as well as outside of those classes that I carry with me in my role now and use fairly regularly. And just his mentorship and a lot of the skills that he taught me and problem solving skills that he taught me, I will carry with me always. I will say I would not have been where I am now if it were not for the clinical research program. It has given me so many skills that have allowed me to be successful in my current role, whether it be technical skills as far as statistics or even generating ideas for new studies, helping to take those ideas all the way to fruition. I think that's a big component of it. It's one thing to have ideas, but to be able to execute them and to go through all the steps of execution and learning how to do that through the program has been incredibly impactful for my career. I would say first and foremost is all of the statistics classes and having really good professors who wanted you to understand the concepts and understand what you were doing and what it meant behind it. And that I maintain is one of my biggest strengths going into my current position, is that I am very well versed in stats, and that has helped me where I see maybe some other programs may not have as many stats classes, and I think that has helped a lot. Also in my mentorship with Dr. Mehta, he introduced me to the world of whole genome sequence cluster analysis, which is something I now do for County of San Diego, and I do all of their whole genome sequence cluster investigations. And so without his mentorship, I would not be kind of where I am now in doing that aspect of my role at the county, and so I'm incredibly grateful for that. Aside from all of that, I would say every professor just had a lot that I could learn from and grow from, and one of the classes that stood out to me was my mixed methods class, and I'm blanking on the professor's name, so apologies, but mixed methods research I had not previously been exposed to. I was very much in the quantitative research phase, and so being exposed to what qualitative research looks like and how to combine the two aspects to do mixed method research, that's something that I utilize in my daily role every day at the county. And so it's all of those lessons that I learned from stats to designing a project to carrying out the project have helped me greatly in my position. For my master's thesis, I looked into the epidemiology of HIV among sex workers in Mexico and Guatemala. And so for that project, we looked at both survey data of information that they had provided for us, as well as sequence information from their positive HIV test result. We were able to use that sequence information to compare to national data sets across both Mexico and Guatemala. And we're able to identify a couple different things. One, how sex workers fit into kind of the national epidemic that's happening in those regions, as well as how programs that test for HIV and capture HIV sequences regionally could help better incorporate sex workers, so that way they are captured in these data sets and represented in these data sets. My advice to prospective students would be to soak up as much as you can during the program, to ask your professors questions. If there are questions that are maybe related to a project that you're working on but not directly in class, to take the time afterwards to ask them those questions, to develop relationships not only with your professors but also with fellow students, and to carry those forward. I've ended up on publications because of relationships that I've had with fellow students in the program, and just using and leveraging those relationships to help you grow in whatever role or whatever position you're going for. I think the relationships and all of the lessons that I learned from people in the program, whether it be professors or staff members or fellow students, have taught me so much, and to really absorb my time. The other thing is, I would say, take as many classes as you can. I look now at some of the classes offered and I'm like, oh, that's new. I want to almost come back and take that. So there are lots of really, really good classes, even kind of beyond what's required for the program, that looking back I feel are very valuable to carry forward. So soak it all up, take as much information as you can, and build those relationships, because they will help you in your future career.